Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast. Of course, last weekend we did see a good precipitation event across the Panhandle in portions of north central and west central Nebraska. This was very good for the wheat planting. We've had some problems with too dry of conditions, so this was welcome news. Anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch was very common totals across the Panhandle, extending out into the western Sandhill region. But unfortunately, the closer you got to the Kansas border, the less we've seen in the way of precipitation, such that a lot of areas of southwest and south central Nebraska really didn't receive much more than 1/10 of an inch of precipitation for that two-day event. And unfortunately, that wasn't the type of moisture we need to see for wheat planting. And then, of course, we had one cold front move through Thursday afternoon and followed through the state such that it exited as we got into the early hours of Friday morning. That brought light showers and a scattering of isolated thunderstorms to portions of the northern Panhandle, extending east-southeastward toward the Fall City region. So once again, we missed out on south central Nebraska. And unfortunately, as we look through this next 7-day period, it doesn't look like there's anything in the way of significant moisture for our dry challenged areas of the state. There is a slight chance next Friday, but overall it looks like a very dry pattern. So in terms of harvest activity, weather, very good news. In terms of precipitation, very bad. And what we have is a high pressure ridge that is building into the region this weekend. So we're going to see very warm temperatures across the state. 80s and 90s looks to be the norm. As we get into tomorrow, we are going to notice that a front starts to move across the northern plains. That will push a surface cold front through Nebraska that will pass through the state during the afternoon and evening hours. So we'll be looking at temperatures in the lower 90s across southeast Nebraska, and that may be very close to some record temperatures in a few locations. But more importantly, this doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with, so it doesn't look like we were going to see anything at the surface as the system passes to our east and intensifies, such that we get into Monday, we'll see very cold air starting to funnel in a northwest flow. That's going to drop our temperatures about 20 degrees across the state. So we're going to be looking at temperatures primarily in the 60s to the lower 70s. And as we get into Monday, we start to see the ridge starting to try to build back in. So we're going to boost our temperatures about 5 degrees on Tuesday. And more importantly, as we get to Wednesday, the ridge starts to build even farther northward. So we're going to look in like temperatures primarily in the 80s to actually a few small 90s across the southwest. Coolest temperatures will be across extreme northeastern Nebraska, where we still may be stuck in the upper 70s. Now, as we get into Thursday, we're going to start to see a trough building in the western United States. We're going to still have that ridge at the surface here in the central plains, so again, we're going to have warm temperatures. But that system is going to start ejecting out energy as we get into Friday and start to bring precipitation into our region. So as we look at the temperature forecast for this next week, we are looking at the warmest temperatures this weekend with a cool down on Monday and gradually building our temperatures as the week progresses. And then we start to get under the influence of that upper air low in the southwest moving in on Friday. As we look at 8 to 14-day forecast from next Thursday through the following Tuesday, the entire U.S. is above normal in terms of temperatures, and we start to see the impacts of that flow from the southwest with that upper air low. More importantly, the new experimental 2-week forecast, which takes us from the middle of the month to the end of the month, moves that warmth to our east, and in terms of precipitation, we still see above normal moisture for the central and southern plains.